2024-25 season is right around the corner. Coach Greg McDermott joining me now. How have you prepared yourself and this team to fill in those voids, and maybe it's by committee?
Yeah, I mean, you don't replace Trey and Baylor, and even Francisco for what he did off the bench as a senior fifth-year player. So you bring in. Hopefully, we brought in a group of guys that's ready for that challenge. We have some young guys in our program that have been waiting their turn, and they've showed good progress. But it's a different team. We certainly don't have the length and the size that we had with Baylor and Trey. On the other side, but I think we're faster. I think we have more speed, and I think there's some things we can take advantage of in that regard.
I think just from the interactions I've had with Ryan Kalkbrenner, you can see how much more of a vocal leader he is. How have you seen him take on that leadership role this year?
He and Steven have been terrific, really from the jump. The consistency of their voice in practice and the positive approach that they have with their teammates as they're kind of growing through some mistakes and learning our system and the nuances of how we do things here. They've been instrumental in that regard. So Kalka's, it's been awesome to have another opportunity to coach him. I'm really blessed to have 5 years with him. He's a once-in-a-lifetime player for a coach that has that skill set that allows us to do defensively what we do because of his approach on a daily basis.
I mean, when you recruited him, 5-6 years ago, did you ever imagine that he would be at this caliber?
I don't think he probably did either. He was so skinny and gangly and clumsy, but he always had a knack defensively for changing the game with his ability to block shots and change shots. And he's continued to grow and build into that role, and obviously he's added a lot of dimensions to his game offensively, and what he's done with his body and his conditioning in the off season, I think is really going to propel him for a great year.
Yeah, and you talk about Steven too. What kind of challenge do you pose to Steven of him getting better this year?
Just pick up where you left off last season. He was playing great at the end of the year, playing with confidence. He was aggressive on both ends of the floor, which we're going to need him to do. And then he's going to need to lead a little bit more last year. Last season, he had Trey and Baylor and Kalk and Bello who had been around, and now he's one of those guys that's going to be, guys are going to be looking to in tough situations to help them get out of it. And I think he's reached a level in our program with an understanding of what we're doing. I think he's poised for a great season.
Yeah, I also want to bring up Jemiah Neal and Pop Isaacs, some of the guys that you hope to fill in some of those spots from last year in those minutes. What did you like out of both of those players?
Athletically, they bring a lot to the table. Their speed is off the charts, and I think our transition game can even be more efficient because of their speed and their ability to attack, get to the rim, and hopefully make some three-point shots as well. But Pop has really settled into our system and understanding where the shots are coming from. He's taking better shots than what he took last season, and his efficiency is much better as a result. And Jemiah's catching on to that as well. It's totally different than what they've experienced before. New teammates, new system, and obviously Jemiah's just got 1 year, so the learning curve has been pretty steep for him.
How about Fedor Zukic? I know there's some question in his availability this season with the NCAA, but why pick him up? How'd you get connected with him?
Obviously my staff knows a lot of people in the recruiting world, and agents are a big part of that now, and we got a call from an agent that we know in the summertime, and we had a scholarship available, and we felt in evaluating him that it was certainly a good idea for us to try to bring him to the program and work through the NCAA process. But he can really shoot the basketball. He's obviously played at a high level for a long time, and we're just hopeful that if we continue to work for the NCAA, we can come to a resolution and get him on the floor at some point.
Mac, you also had the best recruiting class ever in Creighton's history, and especially under you. But how do you try to balance that recruitment versus transfer portal? How do you look at that now?
Well, I think you need to have a healthy mix. I think your culture is maintained easier if you have some guys that have been in your program from the start and that have gone through the process of developing in our program and reap the benefits of that development. The messaging that they can provide as we recruit transfers or we recruit younger players to our program is invaluable to us. Ryan Kalkbrenner has been here for 5 years, and Mason Miller's in his 4th year, Jason in his 3rd. That's really important to the long-term success, I think, and sustained success of our program, that we can continue to bring in young people and have them grow and develop, and then plug in some transfers where we need them, as long as they're the right people, and we felt like we've been able to do that.
Could you foresee some of those freshmen getting valuable minutes this season?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to get an opportunity here early, especially in these exhibition games. We'll throw them out there, see what happens, and then they can learn from it. And how ready they're going to be on November 6th. There's a lot of work to do between now and then.
Yeah, when you think about this roster and its depth, where would you stack it up between this year versus the last few years?
I mean, it's hard to say still. We're only 14, 15 practices in, and Mason's been out a bunch. Jason's missed some time this week. So it's been a little difficult to get a feel for exactly who's ready and who's not. And I think some of that is playing the exhibition games and playing against somebody else, and seeing how guys react when the lights come on who haven't been in that situation before. And they're going to get an opportunity on Ames on Saturday, and then in Omaha against Purdue a week from Saturday.
Yeah, how did that Purdue charity exhibition come together?
Coach Painter and I talked on the road this summer. He took his team to Arkansas last year. He thought it was really good for his team. And we talked about the benefits, and he was willing to come here. We thought we could raise some money and help disaster relief through the United Way. I'm appreciative of the fact that he's willing to come to Omaha and bring his team that's picked to win the Big Ten in here. It'll be a fun treat for our fans.
I mean, you also created a gauntlet of a schedule for this team in non-conference, KU, Baylor, San Diego State, etc. Why do you want to do that so early in the season to test your team?
Yeah, I mean, some of it you don't know. Kansas was sent here as part of the Big East Big 12 Challenge. An Alabama game, that home and home was scheduled 3 or 4 years ago. Alabama was good. Were they top 2 in the country good when we made that decision? No. And then obviously the tournament in Vegas, and Nebraska coming back here, coming off an NCAA tournament bid. We've got a lot of really good teams we're playing, and I just think you test yourself in November and December. It exposes your weaknesses, so you have an opportunity to fix them before Big East play. And if you're fortunate enough to be successful, it really does you a lot of good in March.
For this team to be successful and playing its best basketball when it's time to in March, what needs to happen?
I think defensively it's going to be really important. I think we have to be a top 25 defense and be able to count on that as we wait for maybe some of the offensive flow to kick in with some of the new guys. So I think that'll be really important. And we're going to have to shoot the basketball. It's a big part of who our program is, and our ability to consistently make shots is going to be really important.
I mean, we know the Big East has such amazing basketball, but I think that leveled up even more with Dan Hurley declining a Lakers job, staying with UConn, and obviously you know what he's building there in Stores. What does that just say about that conference, and especially just the talent level within it?
Yeah, I mean, the talent level and the coaching in the league is incredible. I mean, I think the bottom of the league got better without a doubt. Coach Cooley's in his second year at Georgetown and has really have an influx of talent to his roster. Chris Holtman is back in the league. We all know what a great job Chris did at Butler and then Ohio State. So DePaul is going to be on the rise as well. And those were two teams that weren't very successful last year. So as the bottom gets better, the top remains as strong as it was in the past. I think our fans are in for a very exciting Big East season again.
So you're excited to coach against Hurley again? Glad he stayed?
Yeah. I mean, he's a good, Dan's a good friend, and he's a good guy, and obviously he's done a lot of great things for college basketball, and he's on an unprecedented run right now, and we'll do our best to try to slow him down if we can.
I also want to ask about the CHI doubleheader with the women. How important is that, just to see that growth of women's basketball and get to be a part of it? Yeah,
it's been fun to watch, and even you pop into a sports bar and you have WNBA games on and college basketball games on the women's side, and people are actively cheering for it. So I think the growth of the women's game has been incredible. And for them to be able to play in a doubleheader with us at CHI is something we've never done before. So I think it'll be well received by our fans.
All right, last one for me. Doug McDermott just signed a 1-year deal with the Kings. How special has that journry been from you watching as a father from afar, and how many seasons? I mean, what is it, 11 for Doug now?
This is 11, yeah. Yeah, it's been fun. Obviously, it's hard to get to the NBA. It's harder to stay in the NBA. So that the fact that he's been able to navigate now his 11th season, and people value what he does and what he brings to the game, makes me very proud as the person who coached him and also as his dad. So he's excited about this opportunity in Sacramento, and I think he'll try to make the best of it.
Well, Coach Mack, thanks so much for the time, and best of luck.
Thank you, Anna.